Hello, this is Joanne Eisen with Reach the Unlimited, and today it's me. My guest wasn't able to be here. They let me know on Sunday, so I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Hi, Period. And so if you ever had one of those days where it's like everything is not going well, but it's not bad, it's a weird day. This is one of those days for me. So it's like, I got to go live anyway. So I thought I would come on and talk a little bit about character, because that's something that I've been seeing a lot of and talking to a lot of people about in different ways. And it's something that's really important in our development. If you're concerned about your development, then this is something that's really important. I know some people in their lives, they're not that concerned with it. And that's okay, because we're all different. But for me, my character, hi, Michelle, my character, you guys are both on YouTube. Yay. I need to start working more on that. Hi, Jacqueline. Thank you, Jacqueline. Today is just our sharing day. I got a couple things I'm really excited to talk about. Hi, Period. It's very nice to see you guys. So character, though, is something that is really, it's tricky because we so easily can get off track with our decisions and our choices and how we ethically live our lives. But why? Why do we compromise? And it's really interesting as I work with people, and I've worked with myself in development and understanding that, if I am unethical to somebody else, and I'm being unethical to myself as well, and then I pay the price as well. But where does that come from? When we are doing something where we're compromising on something, or we're not being in congruency with who we are, or nobody's watching, so how's anybody going to know? I mean, there's so many things that we do in our minds to justify a lack of character. And it's something that, as you know, I'm going to talk about this forever, because what a learning experience I had going through a divorce. And I'm not the only one that's done it. And all of us that have done it, and hopefully not everybody has. I mean, a lot of people don't, and bless you, and it's wonderful. But that's a whole nother topic. But it was seeing the character of the people that played this game with me. And through the situations, I had a choice so many times to lash back, get even do something that would have been justifiably okay, but not. And I couldn't do it because my character, my essence of who I am, would not be okay with that. I would be out of balance. I would be thinking about it. I would beat myself up over it because, and it's something that I questioned myself through a lot of the experience, because for all the years of my marriage, I was very, I was telling my son today, I didn't realize how conservative I really was. I'm very conservative. I can do crazy stuff and think outside the box, or, do wild things. But when it comes to living, I'm pretty conservative. And so I was always trying to do what was best for the family, best for the business, best for everything. And when I look back at the sacrifices I've made, I easily could have gone to, why did I do that? And then, of course, your next step was, I shouldn't have. I should have done more to protect myself, or I should have done more to whatever. But as I've been dwelling on it, at least I know that I can go through my life and not, hi, Marcia. I know, Jacqueline, right? It's such a tricky thing. Marcia is on, Marcia's on YouTube. Yay, you guys, you're all on YouTube. I mean, not that Facebook isn't fine. You're good right where you're at, Jacqueline. I didn't mean it that way. You guys are on Facebook, though. I mean, YouTube. Anyway, okay. As I digress. So the thing that really got me was that I would start going into, but what did it serve me? How did I, no, don't switch. Stay there. You're fine. Unless you're feeling lonely. Then you might want to go, because you guys can all talk. I should be on YouTube doing this, and then I can give you all your, what do you call it? Moderator badges, or whatever that is. I need to do that, because it will be fun to give you guys all, I should do that. I'm going to do that one night. I'm going to actually do a thing about some of the, aw, don't be lonely. I'm here with you. They're here with you. They just can't see what you're saying. That is the caveat to this, isn't it? That Facebook cannot see what YouTube is saying. That is sad. And Facebook keeps all the chats that you guys do in here, but YouTube does not. That's also something else that's very interesting. Where if I was on YouTube, I think it stays. I haven't done YouTube. I know last week when I did my live, I went on to YouTube to see if I could even remember how to do it. As some of you had said that you had seen me going to go live potentially, and I didn't. Well, I did for a minute. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk though about is sometimes we can feel like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Hi, Cassandra. Why did I do that act? Why was character important to me when it didn't seem to be of value to the people around me? It didn't seem to get me anywhere. It didn't seem to hold any kind of power or longevity to it. It was like dismissed and forgotten, like, well, of course you're going to do that. And because people that like to take advantage of people will actually act that way. And so it really taught me, though, that it didn't matter what somebody else thought. It mattered what I thought. It mattered how I was going to stay in integrity. So what are some of the ways that you guys deal with that? How do you deal when you're with people and you see that people are maybe not in integrity or they're fudging in certain ways where you know that they shouldn't be fudging? I mean, we all fudge. We all do things that are probably not 100% within our integrity. But when it comes to bigger things, when it comes to bigger like life decisions or how you interact with other people or how you're being fair or not fair to other people, that's where it really counts. And one of the things that I was really thinking about today as I was kind of in my meditative state this morning was that it really does show about who you are as a person. And not only who you are as a person, but how you see yourself. Because think about a lot of people who don't live in integrity or not ethical, or they don't value having a good reputation. We see that a lot right now in a lot of the politics that's going on. A lot of so many people, they don't care about their reputation or how people think about them. And that really goes right back to how you think about yourself or how you honor or respect yourself. That's what's really important. You made it. You went to YouTube. Aw, I'm glad you're not lonely there, Jacqueline. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that because for me, the experience that I went through where I was working with somebody who was not in integrity and who was wanting to actually do harm to somebody, it took a lot for me to not lash out or not do something that would have gone against, and I'm not saying that I did it perfectly. That's funny, Cassandra. Not that I did it perfectly. There were moments, and y'all know Marcia helped me through that greatly. And she would definitely keep me in line when I was like, I do have a funny story to say, though. I do have a funny thing. Okay, I'm not going to do everything I did, but I had to give passwords and stuff to my ex-husband. And so because he tends to be a very religious, judgmental hypocrite, I made some really very amazing passwords that he would have to put in before he could log into something. So that's one of the areas that I kind of fudged a little bit, but at least I didn't do, like, I first wanted to do things that were not nice. And then I thought, well, that's not going to be productive. Don't say, oh my God, you know what I did, Marcia. And so what I wanted to do, though, was to be the example. So the passwords that I used would have been an example to him of what a loving person would be like, not what a mean, vindictive person would be like. And so it did give me great joy, I have to say. And I don't know if, I don't know how it came across to the other person, but it did bring me great joy. But that was one of those times too where my initial reaction was I could react in a very vindictive way. And I thought, why would I do that? Because then I'm going to be compromising myself if I do that. So how can I do something that would be productive and not being vindictive, but still I felt good about it? So that's that fine line. That was fun. Oh my God, is right. I had fun doing that. But the thing about it is that it goes back to we're feeling insecure, we're feeling unsafe, we're feeling not heard, we're feeling like we're being taken advantage of, we're feeling like nobody cares. There's so many different negative feelings that we could feel like we need to strike or we need to do something that would be underhanded to get our point across. But it doesn't really help in the end. So I could have done the really nasty things and that wouldn't have made a point. It just would have made him mad at me and also look at me as being a horrible person. He still thinks I'm a horrible person, so that's not going to change. But he can't come back at me and say that I was being vindictive. So even if he didn't see the whole point to it, at some level he did. Because if we're not, if we haven't challenged our own beliefs and know what it is that we're here for or where we want to go or what we want to accomplish, then it's really easy to get off track. It's really easy when you don't have a direction in the forward motion that you want to live your life. And I think that a lot of that comes from the hard work that we do. Everybody here, all four of you now that are here. Thank you, you guys. Yeah, this is an interesting day. It's been an interesting day all day. If we don't know who we are and where we're going, if we don't challenge our beliefs, then we don't know what's right or wrong, right? And I feel like with the situation with my ex-husband, he's very much into old religion, who believes that they're the only one who can tell everybody else because he's a man, for one. And two, he's in the true church that only knows the truth, which we all have. Hi, Eddie. It's good to see you. Wait a minute. I got to read what you said, Jacqueline. Yeah. Healthy boundaries. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's not easy, but it builds character. So what I was going to say about him is, it's like, that's where he's at right now, because he hasn't done the work that we're constantly doing of trying to understand who we are and questioning ourselves. Reaching Unlimited, as I've said a zillion times, was all about changing your belief systems, challenging your belief systems. Don't just go along with it. You have to question everything you think and do and want to become, because is it really what you're here to do? And if you don't ever question it and you just go through life, then how do you know you're on the right path or you're doing what it is that you're here to do? I firmly believe that we're guided to ultimately where we need to go. And I do believe that we're all on our own unique path. What did you say? I like that one. Aren't all men right, though, all the time? We're all supposed to just, listen to men. Anyway, where was I at? It's been one of those days today. You know what? I'm going to start with this and then I'll come back to it, because you guys will be the first to hear this. I am going to start on November 1st through the 30th on YouTube and Facebook. I want to do a month of gratitude. And so every day I'm going to post something that I'm grateful for. Oh, I love that. That is amazing. Hi, Tracy. That is really great, Jacqueline. I mean, there's a lot of really good men out there. There really are. And I don't mean to be putting men down either, because there's a lot of really good men. the point is that we can be in connection with people that are very focused and one-sided. And it's not that they're wrong, it's their path, and it's up to them to change their life, but it's up to us to make sure that we don't compromise ours for them. We need to stay in integrity to who we are and do the right thing no matter what somebody else is doing. And that comes from the core of who you are. It's interesting because I'm going to come back to our gratitude month in a minute. It's very interesting, even in this mediumship world that a lot of us are a part of, and seeing the divisiveness that's going on. And, through my training too, I've had some people that I've trained with that were amazing and loving people. And I've had some people that I've trained with too that were wanting to see you fall. They wanted to see you fail. They wanted to see you do something wrong, or because they wanted to be better. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter if you're a male or a female, or when you're in woo-woo world, or even in your religion. There's a lot of religious people who are lovely people and doing great work. And it's not about the particular sect or whatever of people. It's about you as an individual living in integrity in your life, because you're the only one that can control you. You're the only one that can make choices for you. I was the only one who could decide sometimes during that whole process, moments at a time, how I would react to something. Especially, the biggest thing I think that we face in that kind of situation is betrayal. Like, you gave your all for this person. You promised to be a good person for this person. And to have someone turn on you in such a vile way is really disheartening. Hi, Dawn. It's good to see you. If you're wondering where everybody else is, Dawn, everybody is on YouTube. So I'm just going to give you that heads up now. Everybody's on YouTube. So if you want to see what everybody's saying, you can hop over to YouTube, or you're fine there because I see everything you're saying there too. So it doesn't really matter. Even in the mediumship world, though, where we think that, we're all trying to do our inner work, and we're all trying to be enlightened, and we're all trying to be of one mind and be connected to spirit and all, there's still curmudgeons in that world too. And the thing that I loved about that is that every time I had someone like that, I would embrace it, because I knew that I was going to learn. And in some ways, that's what I did through my divorce as well, is try to embrace it. Yes, in your own authentic life. Absolutely, Tracy. Absolutely. Our life's work. Absolutely. It is our life's work. It really, really is. But you can't do it if you don't know who you are. Like what Tracy said, your authentic self. If you don't know who you are, and you don't question who you are, or why you do what you do, or where did the information for what you do even come from? I mean, do you really believe everything you do? Obviously we don't, because we're influenced. Hi, Sharon. We're very influenced by, the world around us. We're very influenced by so many other pressures and factors in our everyday life, and how we react to that, or how we take it in and process it. If we're not really working on ourselves, if we're not doing our own inner work, which I believe that that's something we'll do until the day we die, because we're always going to have facets of ourselves that we need to work on more, that we need to understand deeper. And so the more that we can understand that too, because I know I've talked to some people where they're like, they're frustrated that they're not growing faster. They're not getting somewhere faster. I mean, we all love those mediums that come in and they're like, well, why can't I do it all now? Or they go halfway through and they get frustrated. How come I can't do a full reading now? And, it's funny, because all of us that have experienced this, we know that mediumship is the easiest thing we can do, but it's the hardest thing we can do, because what we're doing is exactly this, is where we're taking our mind out and we're just allowing spirit to work through us. But so often we have to have our ego, or our mind, or our understanding, or our needing to figure things out. And that gets in the way. So it's really interesting. it's really interesting how that works. Sorry, I'm reading your guys' comments. I need to go over to YouTube now, you guys. I need to make you all moderators. Dang. You're all starting. I want to eventually go over to YouTube, but we'll see. Anyway, so the biggest thing though is really questioning our story, questioning where we're going. Why do we think the way we think, and how do we make that change? And I feel like that's also a lifetime process, but it's being the observer of your life, being the observer of how you think, or being the observer of why you think that way. Because so often, and it's very subtle, yes. Okay. I was like, what? I don't understand. Yes, I need to do YouTube. I need to go over to YouTube. I'm not going to get off and do that though, because it'll be too much time. Anyway, what are your guys' thoughts about this? How do you guys process? Oh no, Don, YouTube is free. You just go into YouTube and type Reach the Unlimited, and you do have to have an account. So that's all you do is get an account. And then you have a whole world in YouTube. There's just about anything you want to know in YouTube. I'm telling you, it's amazing. If I'm even putting something together or trying to figure something out, I'll Google it or I'll put it in YouTube, and they'll give me a YouTube on how to do it. What do you guys do? Can you make modes on your phone? What do you mean? Oh, you're saying to go on YouTube and do that? Is that what you're telling me to do, Sharon? Huh. Can I do that? Just go on YouTube without going live on YouTube? Okay, hold on. Sharon's giving me a, I want to go in and make you guys, hold on. I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm looking. Hold on. Oh, there I am. Okay, hold on. Let me turn the sound down. So, okay. Okay, I'm on YouTube, Sharon. Oh, this is fun, you guys. Hold on. This is really fun. Now I got to figure out. I recently just owned the fact. You know, pagan is really something, Eddie. That, and it's very subtle a lot of times. The things that we grew up with, that we believe in, and then find out that they're not true. Add as moderator. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm making you guys moderators. Hold everything. Hold on. Are you guys seeing I'm adding you as moderators? This is fun. I've been wanting to do this. Thank you, Jacqueline. What would I do without you guys? Helpful. Tell me if I miss anybody. All right. I think I have everybody. So tell me if I missed you. Yay. Oh, there you go. You guys all have your wrenches. Oh, I'm so excited. Show me your wrenches, you guys. This is really fun. Eddie has his wrench. Jacqueline has his wrench. Wait a minute. Jacqueline has her wrench. It worked. Yes. I am so excited. Yay. Okay. You all have your wrenches, I think. Okay. So I want to go back to, I'm going to go all over the place. If you guys are on YouTube and you want to be a moderator, then just put something in the chat and I will, I know that was good. I'll make you a moderator. Okay. So November is gratitude month. And I'm very excited about this idea. I was given a little birdie told me about this. I did you, Tracy. Did you not get your moderator? You should have let me see if you, Oh yeah, no, you're there, moderator. You're a moderator. It has a little wrench by your name. That's a moderator. That's fun. I'm so excited. Okay. Gratitude. So gratitude month. And a little birdie told me about this. I thought it was a fabulous idea. So on Facebook and YouTube for the whole month, from the 1st to the 30th, I'm going to put a comment of something that I'm grateful for every day. And if you put your comment on either, you choose between one or the other, Facebook or YouTube, and you put your thing that you're grateful for every day, those people that have posted every day that day, though, you can't do it at the end of the month and say, I did it every day, because it will be timestamped. But every day you do something that you're grateful for. And then there's going to be a drawing for 3 prizes at the end of the month on the 30th. I will do the last post on the 30th. And by the evening of the 30th, or maybe I'll do it December 1st, I'll see how it goes on the 30th. Then I'm going to do a drawing for 3 people. I'm so glad you're grateful for your family, but it hasn't started yet. That doesn't count. So the interesting thing is, the first prize is going to be a reading, an hour reading with me. The second prize is going to be a $25 Amazon gift card. The third prize is going to be one of 2 things, and I haven't decided. One of the options that I'm going to do is I make these pendulums that I think are really fun, and I like to create all different kinds of pendulums. This one is pretty cool because you could make it into a bracelet and wear it, or you can use it as a pendulum. Or one of the, I can't really show you it yet because this one's not dry, but I've been going back into my Oragraphs and doing my, well, I'm doing it in many different ways. But what I like is to have something, should have had a dry one, have something that somebody can actually keep that has the Oragraph on it. And if I can show you, I'm going to put this down. Hold on, because this one's still a little wet. I played with this one. Here is the Oragraph that I did. And this Oragraph is alcohol ink, and it has a whole story in here. And what I do is I read off of this platform, whatever I'm doing. This happens to be a wooden heart. Then it's going to tell me about your life. And so I read it through all different angles, and it has so many different things. Like right now, you can see right here is the sun, and it has like a leaf or a branch over it. This, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a woman here, and I feel like that is someone's mother, I feel like is what that is. And then right above her, right here, is, it looks like a little boy. That's right there. I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see the little boy? You see a giant peacock? So I've done this on canvas. I did a beautiful reading and Oragraph for Marsha on canvas, because I hadn't done it on canvas yet, and I wanted to play with that one. Hold on, I've got to fix this. And so I did it on canvas, and that turned out really nice. Where is that canvas? It's over there. And so I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, or maybe I'll let you have the choice of which one you want. Probably not, because I'll think about it. But anyway, it's going to be one of the 2. And that's going to be for the month of January. So be looking for that. I will start that in, show it. All right, hold on. I'll be right back. I'll show you the canvas one in a minute. Hold on. All right. So this is the canvas one, which had so much stuff. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. This reading was amazing. All the stuff on here. Well, there went my microphone. Here is the canvas one that I did. And this one was just so full of so many things. I think the most exciting thing I'll show you, because anybody who knows Marsha knows that she wants this, but look at this right here. Oh, everything. That is Marsha leaning against a cliff and watching her grandchildren play in the sand at the beach. That's this one. Anyway, this is up close to the autograph. Anyway, we could have spent hours on that autograph. And if you can hold on for just a minute, I just knocked my microphone. I need to do something else with this. It doesn't usually fall. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, that was fun. Okay. Oops. Dawn, you made it. Hi, Dawn. You made it over. Yay. Okay, so anyway, so that's what I'm going to do for the month of November. And then I have something planned for December as well, just to kind of have fun. What do you mean that's a different background, Priyat? And did you get a new career coming, Dawn? Oh, is that what you did? The end of life doula. You know, I don't know if you saw it a couple months ago. I had Alexis, who was an end of life doula. That was an interesting conversation. That's really great. Anyway, you guys didn't put down what things have you challenged yourself for? I would really like to know what things did you guys challenge yourself for or in to change your belief system that really changed and altered your life? What did you do that really was like an aha moment that you were like, oh my God, I can do this. This is how I see things. And this is what really can make an impact on my life. For me, I had so many. I mean, I can't even tell you. I'm sure everybody here has had a lot of them. What's usually in white? What did I miss, Period? What's usually in white? Are you still doing your YouTube channel, Period? I haven't been on that in a while. Actually, I don't really go on social media except when I'm doing something these days. I love that one, Eddie. I see it on my phone. I don't see it on my, there it is. I agree. Not looking for permission from others. That's a really good one. Really is. Who else has quit masking my pain? Detox. That's really good too, Jacqueline. Absolutely. I mean, how many of us do that? I know it's fall, you guys. We went from spring to fall. We are now getting into cold, cooler weather for sure. So curious, Jacqueline, how was it, or what caused you to think about how do you stop masking your pain from toxic behavior? What were some of the things that you did for that? Because we know when we have pain, right, especially from other people who are toxic, and we all have toxic people in our life, then we can do it in many different ways, like avoiding things that we really want to do. We can be overeating, we can overdrink, we could overwork, We can underwork. That can be also be another thing that we can do. We can be depressed and just kind of give ourselves permission to hide out from the world. I was telling Marcia the other day, I make my bed. Anybody who knows me knows I'm up really early in the morning. And so I'll get up and have my coffee and I make my bed every morning. And at some points, I think I've said this before, at some points in time during that whole divorce experience, because I was so depressed about how people can be so mean to other people and so evil, I didn't make, there would be weeks I never made my bed. I was like horrified. And then I knew, okay, you're having depression and problems, so you need to like protect yourself. Ah, that is a big wake up call, isn't it? It's funny. Occasionally, I've been running a group on Wednesday and a mediumship group circle. And this one lady who she's so sweet and she's fairly new. And so she's a little bit shy in what she does. And they're the ones that are going to get the best information. And she pulled my father in, and anybody who knows my story knows that my father was a curmudgeon. I'm being nice. And I really hated him and couldn't wait to get away from him. It's funny because I'm getting it on my phone faster than I'm getting it over here. So that's distracting me now. And so she pulled in the information about, and most people will pull in the fact that he was an alcoholic, but he could never walk away from that because that was more important to him than a relationship with his family. And for me, that really stuck with me, that through all of my life that I would make sure and always check myself that I don't become an alcoholic. But it shows, right, that sometimes you can get so lost in it. And I don't begrudge him for it because I understand that was his path and that was his choice. And for me, it was like I cared about where I wanted to go in my life or what I wanted to create in my life. And so I always did a counterbalance check. If I couldn't go without drinking, then I had a problem and I needed to stop drinking. And I actually did stop drinking eventually because I do know that during the latter part before I kicked my ex out, that was my avoidance to drink. It was to numb everything, because that's a lot of times what we want to do is numb things. And I never became an alcoholic from it, but it was overly drinking and it was avoidance. And so that was a clue to me. I'm avoiding something, which means that I'm not learning, I'm not growing, I'm not facing what it is that I needed to face. And that's when I put a big ixnay on it. Well, I didn't completely quit at that time, but I put a big ixnay on it because I knew that I needed to face the problems. Because the one thing about when it comes to any kind of substance abuse like that, and I'm not putting everybody down because we've all been there, right? We all have had, like eating for me, that will be my biggest addiction. It'll be like, oh, fine, I'm just going to go get my chips and salsa and my guacamole and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to eat it. I don't care. So alcohol or drugs were never a problem for me personally, just because I never wanted to be an addict. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, I hope I'm not hurting your feelings. I didn't ever want to be an addict. And I don't know why I thought that. So it was just something when I was younger and I'm seeing all my friends do this stuff. It was like, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to go there. And, but what I realized that no matter what I did, whatever my device was, and we all have our devices, it doesn't take care of the problem. It just prolongs it because you're not dealing with it. And so I think that's because I started doing my inner work. I started realizing how I was avoiding my life, how I wasn't standing up to the people that I needed to stand up to. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't, and I've said this before, I hated myself. I didn't even know who I was. And it took me years of working on myself to even understand who I was. And then after that, it became the thing where it just wasn't a thing. And, it's funny because with food as being my device, I really started getting into, and one of the things that I'm going to post on my website is almost done, you guys, almost done. And then everybody can work off of that. Everything will be on that website. Was going into nutrition. But that was my first step into my working on me. I needed to work on the biggest like elephant in the room on me. And that would have been my unhealthy lifestyle. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't eating properly. I was gaining weight because it's funny. Somebody told me one time, you know how you can tell where you're at in life? Go back and look at your pictures and you'll start seeing a pattern. And the pattern will actually show up in your pictures. And so I did. I went back to when I was a kid and I started seeing a pattern very young of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. And it always had to do with some kind of stress or trauma or detox or toxic relationship or something. And so, but at that particular point, it was like, I think that was in like 2012, I think, or 2011. I was like, I need to handle this. I need to get a handle on having a healthy lifestyle. And so I just went all in nutrition, and I was a heavy weightlifter. I was running. I was doing all these things. And I think I've said this before. I was running in this beautiful canyon in Sedona. I was with a group, bunch of friends. We were walking in this canyon. It was absolutely gorgeous. And that was the first time I think Spirit tapped me on the shoulder and said, you need to pay attention because you're in this beautiful place. I'm going to come read your guys' stuff in a minute. This is this beautiful place and you want to run. What are you running from in your life? What are you avoiding? And you don't want to stop long enough to think about it. Because here I was in this beautiful place in Sedona, beautiful canyon with all the beautiful red rocks. There was this beautiful river that was going before us. It was just beautiful scenery. I'm with people of like mind. I was like almost like at home, like, right. You've had those feelings where you just feel like you're at home and you're with your peeps and you feel comfortable and you feel safe. And it was a weird feeling for me. And I just wanted to run. And I kept on, I almost felt like a horse with the reins being pulled back. I can't run. I need to walk. I need to walk with these people. I need to be in the present moment now. And all I wanted to do was put my wings on and fly. And it was a wake-up call to me about how I'm avoiding things that are really sensitive to me or really personal to me. Or, I mean, I never would have done something like this, never would have done something like this then, because I was so inward and so hateful of who I was. And as I've said, when I did the Kindness Crusader book, that was my first wake-up call to how much I really hated myself. And by the time I got to the last breath, I had a lot more compassion and love. By the time we got to 365 days of self-love, I was able to truly express more of who I was. That was a lot of years between the books there. Anyway, let me go back to what you guys are saying. Oh, thank you. Whoever said, please subscribe. Thank you, Tracy. Please subscribe, like, share. I love you guys. That was so sweet. Okay. What have I missed? Oh, thank you, Sharon. Let's see. It is eye-opening to see them suffer. You know, and what I love about that, Jacqueline, is that you paid attention. My dad didn't care. And it wasn't that he didn't care. He couldn't care. He couldn't get behind or away from his own pain to see the pain that he was causing in his family. It was not anything he could even begin to do. And I can understand that now. I couldn't understand it when I was a kid. And I do know that, there was many years that I didn't talk to my dad. I just separated from him. And then it was a few years before and my son, my firstborn, my son was young. And I started a relationship with him because he wanted to get to know his grandchild, because that was the only grandchild that was around at that time. And so I spent more time with him, getting to know him, but he had finally stopped drinking. But unfortunately for him, he had done so much damage to his body. And again, I think that was another wake up call to me. Do I want to be like this? I was always that kind of person. I don't know about you guys. Tell me, are you this kind of person, or am I just you? I know I'm not unique, but I know, and I know I am strange, but I think I'm strange. Is I always looked at, even young, I always looked at things like, how is that something I can learn from? Or how is that something that I can change or shift? I gotta say that really happened more in my later teens. When I was younger, I didn't care. But anyway, so was always like, I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to live my life that way. I'm going to change the directory of our family with me. I have to do it. And so I did start working, or talking and building a relationship with my dad. And at that point, I think he really was humbled, and he was really sad about the choices that he had made. But I firmly believe, because of his childhood and the way that he was raised, he didn't know any other way. He didn't know how to communicate his feelings. He didn't know how to be vulnerable. He didn't know how to be a human being, really, which is very sad. I feel very bad for him. But he's a great cheerleader and a great teacher right now, I'll tell you. Oh, I love Don Miguel Ruiz as well. I love his work. The Four Agreements. Yeah. I actually have the cards. I used to pull cards with them. I haven't pulled cards with them in a long time. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Well, I don't know. What do you mean by loud, Eddie? Because I think you're being hard on yourself. I agree, Tracy. I think that it's so important. I can't not be that way. Whenever I'm doing something or see something like, when I was going through mediumship, and I would, how you get with your peeps that you start with, and people would get so offended by that person, or offended by that person, or how could you work with that person? I don't want to work with that person. I'm like, what are you people saying? Are you kidding me? Do you think you're going to go into a reading with a muggle and they're going to be completely perfect? No, you need to have all these experiences to be able to learn from. I would just be like, bring it on. Let's go for it. The thing I don't like, though, now is I've seen some people that are purposefully sabotaging other people. I don't like that. That's not okay. Yeah, I saw that you did the end of life doula. I love that. I think that's such a great thing to do. I love that. And I know you'd be really good at that, Dawn. Absolutely. It's such an important thing. Absolutely. See, sometimes Marcia and I can get things right. Sometimes, every once in a while, we can do something right. Oh, my pleasure. I love doing the readings. I absolutely love doing them. Oh, wait a minute, Dawn. I have to make you a moderator. Hold on. I forgot. That's my job. How did I do that again? I go on your name and I add you as a moderator. There you go. You're a moderator, Dawn. I can understand that for you, Eddie, for sure. I mean, isn't that our balance, right, Eddie? It's like, we can be who we are and we shouldn't filter or stop who we are as a person, but we also have to be kind to the people around us, right? So we do have to adjust and take the measurement of the room and how we need to act or what we need to do, because that's also being kind, right? I know I toned down quite a bit, Eddie, so I can totally understand what you're saying in a different way, but I've toned down quite a bit. Because one of my things when I was growing up was I was never heard. I was never listened to, which is heard, they're different. Being heard is one thing, but actually, you get what I'm saying. I wasn't respected for who I was, and I wasn't respected for my opinions. And so I went overly outward when it came to that. As I was growing up, I was forcing my way of, you're going to hear me, you're going to hear my opinion, this is who I am, kind of thing. And it didn't work well, but that was coming from my insecurity. And that's the thing that we all have to remember. If we can really look at the person that we're dealing with, that they have insecurities and they're living off of those insecurities. And a lot of people aren't awake enough to understand that they're working off of their insecurities, or they're working off of the things that they're uncomfortable with, or they're trying to fit in. All of it's still their securities. And so if we can understand that, if we can not take things personally, which is because, again, it's like we're attaching. And I say this a lot. You can attach to an outcome in anything you do, whether it's in your work, whether it's in mediumship, whether it's in relationships, whether it's with your children. When you attach to an outcome, then you're putting an end result that you expect on it. And we can't expect our results to be on other people. If we can just go through life letting you all do your thing and I'm going to do me, then there's no attachment. I'm not going to get offended, or I'm not going to be pulled down because you have some other agenda than I have, or you did it in a way that I wouldn't have done. That's what makes this world so perfect, is that we can all make our own agendas. We can all do our own thing. We can all live our own lives. We don't all have to be the same, and nor will we, because we're all different. We all have different experiences. We all have different personalities. We're never going to be the same. So it's the attachment. If we can remember that, that's the thing, is when you get into a room and somebody says something and you're like, I mean, this was totally me. I was like, no, I'm not going to put up with that kind of garbage. So I would say so. Now, there are times where you say things. There are times to do that. But most of the time they're not, because no matter what I say, it's like with my dad. No matter what I would have said to him when I was a kid, he wasn't going to change his ways. My mom said a lot to him. He wasn't going to change his ways. He's the only one who can change his ways. That's the same with us. We're the only one who can make the changes in our life. My ex, I have said things to him over the years, and I am sure you're going to get a whole earful now that the papers are signed about who that person was. I'm sure you are, because he's going to be a great example. I'm telling you right now. I had a lot to say to him over the years, and there were so many things that he could have done to change the trajectory of our marriage. But to him, being right was more important. Even if he was wrong, it was to be right. He was the only one who, it's just like in the religion he's in right now. Every religion, and I was in a few of them, every religion that he's been in is the only religion. But it's so funny that he keeps going to a new, we're the only religion. I was like, how does he not think about this? How do you not stop and say, wait a minute, I've been in 5 different religions since we were in a religion together. It was called the Worldwide Church of God. It was kind of an Orthodox Jewish religion. I've told everybody about this. And they were the only true people. The Catholics think they're the only true people. The Protestants think they're the only true. The Jewish thinks they're the only one. You know, it's like all of them think they have the market on it. And when I finally left the church that I was a part of, that's what started getting me. It's like, how can all of these people be the only ones? The 144 people, as you all know the Bible, I'm sure you do, they all are the only ones that are going to be there. And all the rest who were not in that church, are not in that thought process, were not going to make it because they didn't have the key. They didn't have the magic code, something. And I'm like, no, how can that be? These people, there's so many people out there that are doing better works than I'm doing. There's people out there that are being kinder than I'm being. There's people out there that are taking care of the needs of other people more than I'm taking. I'm like, I'm not as bad as I was before, but I still am somewhat when it comes to people on the street. I will size them up. Well, of course, we know we're using our intuition to who's scamming and who's not. But I would be like, no, how much have we seen this just recently? You have two legs, you have two arms, you have a brain, you are supposed to provide for yourself. That's the attitude that they have. And I was like, why? Are you kidding me? They're having a hard time. This is how we help each other. Again, we use wisdom, right? There's some people that take advantage of that. And I don't know where the line is drawn for you. I have to draw my own line because that's what we are as a human being. But we're here to help each other. And that's a part of our character. If we're just saying that it's all about me, or it's all about what I want, or it's all about my views, or I'm the only one that has the truth, then how is that really doing the service of the spiritual world? However you look at that. That's what's so important. Boy, did I go off on a tangent on that one. Okay, let me go back. Well, how do you know, though, Eddie, that all those quiet people think you're a bit much? See, that's the other thing is we assume. We can't assume. Some people are probably sitting back going, man, I wish I could be like that. Man, I wish I can say that kind of thing. Man, I wish I can do that. I know that's one of the things that I've learned too, is that we don't always know what somebody's thinking. Sometimes we feel like because we do a lot of feeling, so we can kind of sense it. But not everybody's doing that. There's some people, very shy people or introverted people that kind of sit back and they watch people that are extroverted and they're thinking, I would like to do that. So don't always say that. You may not be. You may not be too much for them. Oh, Dawn, that's sad. A lot of times it comes from our childhood when we haven't been heard. You know, it's funny, and I don't mean to, I mean, I'm giving all my dirty laundry tonight. So I never paid attention to my reactions when I was a kid. Never paid attention to the why. I didn't have woo-woo in my life at all. Nobody in our family did not come down from generation to generation. I know of nobody that was woo-woo. Nobody. I know a lot of people that were Catholic. That I know, but not woo-woo. And so when I was younger and I would feel things or I would sense things or I would anticipate things, like the greatest thing that I can explain this with is when my mom would go to work as I got older, young but older. When my mom would go to work, I would know about the time she was going to come home. I would kind of feel when she was leaving work and kind of come home. And I would have this like anxiety that would well up in me because I never knew what was going to happen or what kind of mood she was going to be in or how much trouble I was going to, because my mom and I, yeah, we like butted heads, definitely oil, vinegar and oil. And so I was always anticipating that. And no matter what I did, and I'm not putting my mom down, she did the best she could. But her and I didn't get along. We didn't see eye to eye. Mind you, we're both Sagittariuses. And I don't know what her moon and rising are though. But anyway, we're both Sagittariuses. And there was a lot of, like, I'm not going to say that just because she's a Sagittarius, you can't get along, though. I'm going to take that back because my daughter's on the cusp of Sagittarius and we get along and always did. Most of the time we did. I don't know. There was a period of time in her like older teen years that were rough, but other than that, we did. But that was me sensing the energy. That was me feeling my mom's whatever she was going to come home in. And so I would get this like feeling that would come up into my throat. It would come from the gut and it would just come into my throat. And I never really paid attention or even knew what that was. So as I went through life, I never realized that continued until this divorce situation. And then I would feel when something was happening and I was feeling that build up again. And I realized that was my learned behavior from when I was a child and when my mom would come home and how that would affect me. And I was like, that was something I never paid attention to and something that I needed to work on. So I used the last part of my interaction with coming up to an agreement, which I'm not happy with, but other than that, everything's amazing that I'm done. But it was something that I had to become aware of now that I can change. So these are the kinds of things when I'm talking about your being in your authentic self, living in a true character of who you are, having respect for who you are, understanding who you are, learning about who you are, because I feel like that's such an important part of why we're here. It will help us to be able to navigate the direction we want to go or what we want to accomplish. If we have no idea where we're supposed to go, then how are we going to get there? How do we know what we even want? How do we even know what direction is really in alignment to us? It's paying attention to all of those things that leads us on the right path. Okay, what are you all saying? You guys are so great. Thank you for keeping up. I'm terrible at that. Well, why do you say that, Jacqueline? Oh, Jacqueline. Oh my gosh, Jacqueline. You know what you're creating here now, right? You know. You absolutely know. Are you in your pajamas? Have you washed your hair? I don't know though, in all honesty, with what you just posted, no clue who I am or what I want. You're not alone in that. And I don't believe that that's something that we're ever going to fully know until we die and go back home. Because I feel like it's something that we are constantly in involvement in understanding. You've all been there, right? Where you think like, okay, I'm on the downward slide now. Everything is going the way it's supposed to go. Everything is perfect. Oh my God, everything, I get it. Life is sweet. And then you go back into a hiccup, right? You go back into something else that takes you off track, because that's what we're supposed to do as a human being. Because this isn't the reality. In my world, this is the illusion. We're in the matrix. We're all hooked up to machines. We're really not, because we're spirit. Oh my God, that led me to something I was going to talk about, and I can't. I'll think about it. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Anyway, we're all energy. I heard the most bizarre thing. If Marsha's here, she knows what I'm talking about. That somebody said, and maybe I'll kind of briefly around the bush on that one, because that's kind of interesting. But anyway, we're all energy and we're souls. And so that's the truth of who we are. But we're here to have an experience. We're here to learn. And so even though we're souls in these human bodies, we're still navigating from a human experience. So I feel like that's something that we're constantly going to be learning, constantly going to be navigating around. You think that you're going to go down the road to the left, and you end up going down the road to the right because something was more appealing that way. So you get to learn those lessons. And then after you're done with that, then you think everything is fine and hunky-dory, and then you get to go through another experience. I feel like the most important thing isn't about the experiences. It's about how we deal with them. It's about how it affects us. Because I feel like you do know who you are, Jacqueline. I absolutely feel like you do know who you are, but you're still, I don't know, Marsha. I want to talk about it. It's so bizarre. Oh, I'm still contemplating in my head. Marsha told me no. It's pretty interesting, but Marsha said no. I'll think about it. Tracy, I feel like you are working on it. And that's the thing, because look at what you have accomplished, Jacqueline. Look at what you have overcome. You have overcome so much. I'm hearing you, Marsha. I am hearing you. In my mind, I'm trying to come up with a way to talk about it without talking about it. That's what I'm trying to do. Sharon, you're an instigator. I'm still mulling it over. Most of it I wouldn't talk about because it's not appropriate and it's not correct, but it's an interesting, on the outskirts, talking in generalizations about it's an interesting topic. But I would not say the whole thing that I had heard. Oh, privately. I don't know. It's out there in left field. Anyway, Jacqueline, what I would say to you is look at where you were. Oh, like I want to say 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago, and look at where you're at now. I don't mean to give you a heart attack, Marsha. I'm not gonna say the whole thing. I'm really not. But it maybe. Now we got everybody curious. Now we need to okay, I'm done. Where you were 5 years ago and where you are now is vastly different. And that's what you have to keep looking at, because I don't know where I'm going either. I have no idea. In fact, my son called me today. I love my son. My son called me today, and he basically has me feeling like you're going to be homeless. I'm over exaggerating. He didn't really say that. But we can get into our own heads, right? About what can we create now? What can we do now? How do we move forward in our lives? And I feel like we have those moments where, like you had that moment, right? Where you were doing something else and then you swung over to what you're doing now, which is really a big feat. And you've done really well at it. And I don't know how you're doing. I'd like to hear about how you're doing. But you're doing something right now that's really been good for you. Look at that growth between just that stage alone. So I feel like you've grown exponentially. Look at the fact that you have overcome addiction issues, and you've worked on yourself. You went through mediumship. You trained to be a medium, and that's not easy. That takes by itself a lot. I mean, think about where you started. When I think about where I started with my mediumship, and I remember so many times in the beginning of my mediumship where I was like frustrated. This seems so easy and it's so hard. Why am I not getting this information? Or why am I not connecting with that soul in the way? Or why am I not connecting deeper? This is a funny story. So I've been trying to do challenging things, right? So I've been in my practice groups or whatever, I've been doing challenging things. Like I will have the intention, all of us do this, I'm not special, that I'm going to have the intention of doing something unique. And so last night in the circle with my group that I was doing, that I've been running for somebody else, shout out to Colleen. I hope you come back soon. We miss you. I had in my intention that I wanted to pull in 2 people that were friends, and that there was some unique combination or some unique situation that bound them together. And so that was my intention. I didn't tell anybody what it was. That was just my intention. And sure enough, as I was going through this reading, I pulled in this gentleman who was in this car. And then as I was unfolding him, this other gentleman was with them, and they both ended up passing in a car accident together. And so then what my whole thing was that I needed to bring the 2 of them together, and I needed to show the similarities, the commonalities that they would have had, the experiences that they would have had. And it was so cool to see how Spirit took care of that for me. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was connect, and Spirit gave me everything I needed. But in the beginning, I was desperate. I was frustrated. I was angry. I wanted to quit so many times, because it's that journey of the unfamiliar. It's that journey of learning something that you don't feel comfortable with, or that you're not sure about. Or again, it's like I always tell people, especially when you say it, I'm trying to, or I'm thinking of, or I'm going to do this, or I need to get that. You're mentally attaching to it. And so with that, now you're disconnecting from the spiritual world and the direction you need to go. I feel like there's a commonality in that as well when it comes to the way we live our life, that there's ways that we will attach to it and ways that we disconnect from it because of whatever we feel comfortable with or not comfortable with, or ways that we may doubt ourselves and ways that we are really on fire. You know, those moments where you're just on fire and everything just goes perfectly. And then we think eureka, and then we have a bad day and we're like, oh, I'm going to be homeless in downtown LA. Just saying. That was a tangent again. I'm going on tangents tonight. How long have I been going? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It is, Cassandra, infinite possibilities. Infinite it's infinite. And the other thing though is, you know, I've said this before, where those moments when you know you're doing the right thing, you don't think about it. It's just, I'm doing this. And I'm seeing that happen more and more and more. The more that I'm connecting to my team and I know my team and I'm trusting my team, to those moments where you just know this is what I have to do. This is where I have to go. Then there's those other moments when you're human again. And you're just like, what the F? I don't have a clue where I'm going. How is this all going to work out? And that's where we really straddle that trust and faith, right? Everything we do has to do with trust and faith. When we are connected with our team, when you have your spiritual team with you and you're relying on them to help you through your life, that's a big commitment, because now we're not doing it alone. That's where we're actually being heard. That's where we're actually being seen. And that's the part that really counts, because our team is with us and they're helping us to go in the direction that we're meant to be. They're not taking us down some Toad's Wild Ride kind of thing. They're taking us down the direction that we want to go. We're the ones that get in the way. We're the ones that go, oh, you know what? No, I don't like the left. I'm going to go to the right because it seems a little brighter over there. I think I feel safer over there. And then you end up marrying somebody you shouldn't have married. Just saying. Okay. I'm glad it riddles your conversations too. This is the way I live my life. You never know what direction you're going to go with me. Oh gosh, I read. Let's see. My reading of 6 cannot be so good. And focus on the not so good one. Oh, we tend to do that, Eddie. I don't know why. I think I wonder. It's going to be an interesting thing to talk to our team when we actually go back home again and ask them how many of the things that we did the wrong thing in was still meant to be, because the lessons that we learned from that experience. Because I don't feel like we came here for an easy, plush life. My hesitation was, would Spirit really want us not to have that? Well, I would imagine that they would probably want us to if we could. But why would we do? I've said this all along. I've said this so many times. I don't know why I would have come here to have a plush, happy life. I would love it. And I would be very grateful if maybe the rest of my life could be that way. But I don't think that it's going to be, because we have the world around us. We have people around us, and we can control our environment, but we can't control the environment around us that affects us. And so we're constant. That's why we're one. That's why community is so important, because we support each other, we learn from each other, and we're affected by one another. And it's how we deal with those things. And also the reason that community is so important. And community seems to be a big word lately. That has been something that has been entering into my awareness and my conversations a lot, is people needing community. And that's what Reach the Unlimited for me is really about. It's developing that community of people like all you guys are doing here, when you're talking to each other and you're interacting with each other and you're supporting each other, you're saying hi to each other. Community is so important, because we're learning from each other on here. I'm obviously the one who's the voice, because I'm the one live. But you're all being the voice too. Eddie, talking about, some of the things that you're dealing with, and from your personality and the way that you look at life and how beautiful that is. But not everybody understands that. But yet, I know for me, I see the beauty in who you are. I see the beauty in how you interact with people and your funny comments and the way that you look at things. Because if we were all the same, if we were all, I was going to use the wrong word, that wouldn't have worked. If we were all purple, all of us were purple, how boring would life be? We all need to learn from each other. That's how we learn. You cannot imagine how much I learned from my ex-husband. Oh my God, he was the best teacher for me. And I won't say I love him for that. I almost did, but I can't. I guess I do. But I'm going to have to struggle with that one. Oh, that reminds me. The one thing somebody asked me today, how are you doing with changing your last name? You know what? I have been Eisen for 34 years, a little over 34 years now. And I'm trying to go back to Ewing, which is my maiden name, and it's not that much different than Eisen. So it's not like people are going to go, what? You know, they're going to look at it and go, what happened? Actually, that's already happened. When somebody looks at it, they're like, what happened? I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, so I'm trying to go back to my maiden name, and that's turning out, because whenever I talk, I'm doing this. It's so, you know, you don't even think it when you say your name, it just comes out. I know, right? Like JR, we had that conversation. Yep. I have a big oil. I don't know. They're probably poor now. No, they're not. Oil companies are making a killing. You're right. Exactly, Tracy. No mistakes. There's no mistakes because we're learning from everything, even when it's positive, even when it's good. We are learning from those if you're open to it. Now, I'm not going to say that there were not learning opportunities over the past year that I could have done better, that I could have utilized in a more beneficial way. But overall, we do learn from all experiences. Absolutely. That's funny, Eddie. I love our community too, Jacqueline. Yes, our spirit team, Tracy, is our everything. Getting to know them is so important, you guys. It's so important to sit with them, to know them, to feel them. Oh, I mean, for me, I have gotten a little better at knowing some of my team because they felt it was important. But overall, I look at my team as my team, and they all have their place in the overall picture. And I trust all of them, and I don't feel like any one is more superior than another. And I know my team's feeling, like I know them as a team. I know a few of my guides individually's energy because I sit in trance and I'll feel that with them. Or lately, I've had like two of them that are like more present and closer to me. So I'm gotten to know them better. But they're all a team that leads and guides us in the way that we're going to go. And it doesn't matter if you feel them or not. It doesn't matter if you know who they are or not. What's important is that you build a relationship with them. I can't tell you, the closer that you get to them and the more you're paying attention to them, because I remember when I first started a couple years ago, actually interacting with them, and I would talk with them, and it all started with my yes. You tell me what to do, I'm going to do it. I still don't do it 100% because I'm a human being. And then you're always going back going, damn it, why didn't I listen to that? But when I first started, it was a yes day. I don't know, maybe once a month, because it wasn't natural to me. It wasn't like I was avoiding my team. It just wasn't natural for me to call upon my team to help me. But as I became more and more working on who I was and understanding who I was and understanding that I had way more control than I had thought and that I had way more guidance than I had thought, then I started building my relationship with my team to the point now where we're in constant contact with each other. Constantly, I'm hearing about do this or do that or this or that or whatever they're trying to get through to me. Again, I still don't do it 100% because I'm a human being. But when you know your team and you're following their guidance, it's amazing how many more things you actually see, or how much more you see what they're doing for you, or how you see how they're guiding you. It's crazy. And physically, like I said the other day, where I had a new spirit that wanted to work with me. And so I kept on hearing this name, and I'm like, okay, until one day I opened my computer because I was doubting. I was like, okay, because I'm not that way in person either. I don't respect people like one person is better than the other person. You just have to be a nice person. You're a good person, then it's good. And this isn't about that either. But that's why it was like, I don't respect any of my team one over the other, I guess is what I'm saying. So when this particular spirit came through and said, I want to work with you, I was like, okay, join the team kind of thing. But I feel like this particular soul wants to work with me on something specific. And so this particular soul is trying to get my attention more. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what really to say. It was just like, I'm following the team wherever we go. That's what I'm going to do. Until that one morning, I opened up my computer and that person's name was on my computer. I'm like, okay, well, you really want my attention, so I'm going to listen now. It's all different. Everybody's different. Okay, where are we at? Jacqueline, you're funny. That's very nice, Jacqueline. Very nice. You do know where you're going, though. I kind of got off track with that one. What did you? I think they're interesting that you say that, Tracy. I think that there's a combination of different beings that are a part of our team. I don't think they're all human. I feel like they're different. There's different energies depending on what it is that. Oh, that's okay. I do that all the time. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons, what you said, Tracy, that's one of the reasons that I don't necessarily feel like I need to know exactly who my team is, because I feel like we do have time periods where there are different, like in this particular case, a new soul came forward. This is my turn now to help you with this part of your life. It's very significant and just happened after the papers were signed. Okay, now you're going to go into this part of your life. That's what my job is for now. And I'm sure, I don't know if I lost somebody else along the way, but I don't really feel like I lost anybody, actually. If you think about energy and soul, spirit, they're omnipresent. They're with us at any time. So if I had another guide that maybe not be as prevalent in my life right now, but there may be a situation where I may need that particular soul, then I am positive they could be there. But I do think that there's certain souls that come in and out of our life with more presence when we're in that place or we need them at that time. No, yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Tracy. Yeah, absolutely. But see, this is why I said it the way I did, because there are, from my belief and my experience, there's certain of our guides that were actual human souls. I feel like there's angels. I feel like there's ascended masters. I feel like there's, galactic beings that, in my world, there's galactic beings. There are other entities that also will work with us. And I love what somebody said about animals as well. I know that I have 3 animals that have been in my life that I still will get that sense of them being nearby. How they help me, I don't know, other than they give me a lot of comfort when I feel them or think about them. Or I'll see another animal that will look just like them, or a picture will pop up, because we all have 20 million pictures from when iPhones became a thing and they were all on the iPhone. Now they're all in the cloud and they can just appear from nowhere. They'll appear. One of them is my very first animal, which I really, really needed. And I really believe that this animal saved my life in so many ways, was my very first cat. And this cat was a Siamese cat. And I loved that cat. I loved that cat. I just love that cat. I never, ever stopped thinking about that cat. And so I eventually am going to get another animal. I haven't had an animal in a while. It's the first time ever that I haven't had an animal. And my next animal is going to be a Siamese that's going to look just like that cat. Because that cat was amazing during my rough years of my life. that cat I had when I was in another state, and it was a 4-year period where I had nothing but physical issues, like accidents that happened, physical things that were really horrible. It was like one after the other. And that cat was really close to me. I believe that one of my guides is simply the elements. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That take a human form. Interesting. Well, that's an interesting thought too, Eddie, right? About how we all deal with things in different ways, process in different ways. Spirit works with us because I feel like we come to this planet in the personality that we have for a specific lesson. I feel like we're here, and I'm not a believer of that we can do it right or wrong, or there's only one way to do it. I feel like there's many different ways to get to where we want to go, or what we want to learn, or what we're here to learn. And there's many different people that will come into our life to teach us maybe different aspects of that. So we can learn whatever we're learning from different, anything really, anything. We don't think you're crazy at all, Eddie. That's a funny statement. Which was the guide who told you needed to get to work, Eddie? I want to hear about that. Oh, the Raven? Was that the guide? You never changed your married name, Sharon? Oh yeah, I could get that, Lee. Yeah. When because I've had 2 marriages. When I divorced my first husband, I didn't change my name. But in this particular case, I really felt like I wanted to go back to my roots. I wanted to go back to who I was born to be. And I certainly didn't want to carry that name around for the rest of my life. Not because the name was bad, it just that experience was one that I was done with. And I just felt like it was a clean break to move on and not have to carry that around anymore. No. But I'm having a hard time because I've gotten so comfortable with it. I've had a hard time letting it breaking the habit. It's breaking the habit of using it. Anyway, so don't forget, I'm going to post this. I will be doing a post of Gratitude November. So keep your eyes open for November 1st on YouTube and on, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I think what I'm going to do on YouTube is I'll make a Canva thing with music, and then I'll post it that way because I can't post things on YouTube. You saw. Huh. Why would you say she was an ordinary lady? That's really funny way of wording it, Eddie. A funny way. Ordinary lady. Wow. That's interesting. They're like progressive, Sharon. What was your maiden name? What was your maiden name, Sharon? I'm curious what your maiden name is. Oh, I gotta send out a message to you guys. That's funny, Eddie. Oh, wow. Key. How do you say that? Key. I'm gonna have to ask you how you say that. Guys, I'm terrible with names. Qui? Is that French? Is that a French name? Qui. Oh, I see. Qui. Okay. Is that French? I'm looking at my phone. I get the phone first before I get the Irish. Oh, okay. Interesting. Irish. Love it. Okay, you guys. I've been on for an hour and a half. Anybody have anything they want to say? Any topics they want to cover before I sign out? Did I cover everything? I didn't even start what I was going to say. Don't be bought. That's the one thing about our character, right? So often we can be bribed or bought or convinced to jeopardize our truth of who we are and the character, the authenticity of who we are. And it's not wrong if we do, because we learn from those lessons. I mean, we've all done it, right? We've all done things where you think that it's the right thing to do, and then you realize, shoot, I sold my soul out in doing that. So really try with every lesson that you have, not to, like, what I can tend to do is micromanage it or tear it apart and then tear me apart, which I work on because that's a part of my personality. But with each lesson that we go through, if we can analyze it and say, how did I learn? How did this affect me? What can I do to do that better? That's the important part, I think, of why we're here, instead of, like, tearing yourself apart or being hard on yourself or hating yourself. Oh, you're very welcome, Tracy. Then that's the important part of our life. And I really, it's taken me a long time to learn that, because I learned how to beat myself up so much, and I still do. I'm an addict at that. But I've gotten better at being able to say, what was my lesson, and learn from that lesson and not beat myself up, because we're all human and we are going to make mistakes. We're not going to do things perfectly. But if you're doing it in a way that you're caring about other people, it's like going back to that. And what a great experience. I would not advise it. It's not fun. But what a great experience to challenge your character is to go through something like a divorce, because you're dealing with anger, frustration, hurt, pain, insecurities. And if you could stay above something like that, now that's not the only thing, there's many other things that are equal to that, then that's when you know who you really are. When you can look at yourself and say, I was going to react in this way, but I'm going to do this. Or if you did react in that way, how could I have not done that? How can I have distanced myself and not taken it so personally? A lot of times I took it very personally. Thankfully, I didn't always act. Pretty much I didn't act at all. Mostly, I think, because I won't even go there. That's the thing that we're here to do, is learn from those experiences. So don't beat yourself up. Try to find the compassion for yourself, which is something that's taken me years to learn. I mean, I can't even tell you, and I am not even to the surface yet of where I need to go to not beat myself up for being a human being. So have great people around you. And I've got so many things to post tonight. I'm just trying to catch up from walking away from another business and working into what I'm going to do in my life now. I feel like I'm more tired now, but I created that business and it was running by itself. Now I'm creating another business, and it takes a lot of work, as anybody knows that's starting a business from scratch. Well, I'm not starting it from scratch, but I haven't really worked on Reach the Unlimited. It's always just been kind of this platform because I had this other business and I didn't really have to. Now I'm needing to actually work it, which is a good thing because it's helping me to come out of my comfort zone. But it's taken me a long time to not beat myself up. It's taken me a long time to have compassion, and I'm better at it. I'm still a recovery at it. I don't even know that I'm in recovery really quite yet, but take those moments to learn from your experience, but don't cross the line to beating yourself up, because we are human beings. And there are so many times that I've just reacted And I know I still will because I have a temper and I will like just that fast. My mouth will just say things like nobody's business. I did learn that from my mother. Thank you very much. My mom has a lot of really great qualities, but her and I have two similar personalities, I guess. So be kind to yourself. Learn from the experiences and be kind to yourself, but don't compromise yourself as much as you can. And if you do, then be kind with yourself. I know, Sharon, we're equal on that one. Twice. I am okay. I'm not going to go there. You're an alien hybrid. Yes, yes, yes. Grief with separation. Yeah. Grief is a big part of it. Really a big part of it. And denial, yeah. Grief is, that I think for me, because of the kind of person I am, we're all different. I'm just saying from my experience, that was probably the hardest part for me was the grief of the things that should have been, could have been, if ego wasn't in the way, would have been. Disappointment, denial was also very much a big part of it. These are all feelings that we need to express or that we experience for our learning. But grief was really, that was the hardest, I think. The grief, that's a big one, Eddie. That really is big. And yeah, 2 is enough in a lifetime, right, Sharon? 2 is too many. 2 is enough. No more. Oh, that's an interesting. How do you have a divorce celebration party? That's what I want to know. What is it? What do you do? You're all on YouTube. You're all on. You're all online. I'll have to think about that. It is a time to celebrate. It's funny. 3 of us were on a trip, and we all had very important milestones in our life that we wanted to get to. And so we all were, I don't know if I ever told this story, but we were driving. I live in California. They do not live in California. One of them lives in Canada. So we're driving down the 5 freeway to go to an outlet right at the border of Tijuana. And the one that lived in Canada was like freaking out. Do not do anything wrong here. So we do not go into Mexico because that will really be bad. So anyway, we go into this outlet. We didn't get into Mexico. We were all like, whew. And we all bought these special pins. And there is a point to the story. And so we all have these pins, right? And we could do a Zoom meeting. Cassandra, are you not a moderator? Hold on. I'm glad you said that, Cassandra. I would have missed that. How did I miss you? I thought I made you a moderator. Anyway, so we all had these pins, and this was like, how many years ago was that? That was like, at least 8 years ago, maybe. Was it 8? No, it was about 6 years ago. And so we've all hit that milestone. So mine was the divorce, getting a divorce, because I've been separated from my ex for 11 years now, before we got the divorce. And so we all got a pin, and we were going to use the pins to sign whatever we were signing. I had to do a DocuSign, so I didn't get to use my pins, and I was really unhappy. The reason I'm saying that is Sharon said we could do a Zoom on it, or somebody said, I think it was Sharon. And so it was all digital, so I didn't get to use my pin. All right, well, we'll put that. I'll get that together. We will have a divorce, all those that have been divorced celebration. I have to say, it's really shitty as you go through it because there's so much emotion. But to be on the other side, And we hear this. This is the other thing I was going to talk about tonight, and I didn't, but I will another time because I'm not going to go on a tangent on it. But we always hear from people that, this is going to be good for you and you don't believe it. And because you're not sure, it's fear, right? You're dealing with the fear of what you don't know. How are things going to unfold? How is this going to be okay, kind of thing? And so I kept on hearing from people, oh yeah, you're going to be so much happier. This is going to be great, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, y'all are smoking something, because I don't see how that's going to happen, because the business that I had was, I created that business. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on there. Now, mind you, we both work together, but I created that business. And to me, it was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do that again. It was very scary. Now that I'm on the other side, first I wanted to slap them all, like, shut up, get away from me. Now I want to hug them all, because when you do get to the other side of a big event, like something that's really momentous in your life and you're fearful, you don't see what's going to happen on the other side. And so many people told me for years, you need to get this divorce because you're going to be better on the other side. And boy, were they right, because now I feel so free. I really, for the first time in my life, I feel free. I can fall on my face if I want. I can make it happen if I want. I get to control my own life if I want. Nobody has control over me for the first time in my entire life, because I was at home. I got married before, and I left my home, got married, had 2 kids. I left my husband, ex-husband then, and had my kids for a while I was trying to figure out, I was at this stage, right? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. Then I was in this other church. It was like, you have to be submissive, walk 10 paces behind your husband, bow your head, give him whatever he wants, make sure his belly is full, everything will be great. And so then it was probably 2 years, I think, after that I got married again. So I didn't develop my own life. Now I get to develop my own life. And it's really perfect timing and a beautiful experience. And I'm very excited about it. Yes, so true. So true, Tracy. Not just with a divorce, you're right. But you know what's interesting about that is that you're right. We learn it in so many different ways, but everybody's way is going to be different. For me, I felt like that's what I needed to be able to kickstart my life, which is interesting. And a lot of people have. I mean, how many people that went through a divorce? Maybe more than one. Like for me, it took 2 times. I didn't do this the first time. Where you actually do step into your life and you say, enough is enough, and I'm going to live my life. And other people do it in different ways. Absolutely. But that's a really big life-changing experience for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do use them. We reuse them and reuse them. Yes, Eddie, absolutely. The Church of No Way in Hell. I like that. There's no way in hell any of us are going to hell. That I can tell you. It is perfect timing. Absolutely. Yes, very true, Tracy. It is learning a bigger picture. Our greatest emotions and feeling is love. That is the key. That's what I kept on going to when I was going through this experience. It was going back to love, not hate. Going back to loving everybody. We don't do it perfectly. We don't. But when we can go back to that state of love, when we can go back to understanding, and I think that was the biggest key for me in this particular experience, because there were times that I would be angry, or that I would be sad, or that I would be like, all the emotions, you have them all, is I would always go back to the love, remembering and being in gratitude. And this sounds really funky, and it'll probably be my first gratitude post, of my exes going through this experience with me. Because when you can look at it from a higher perspective, it wasn't about our human experience. It was about the choices that we made that brought us to that experience. Whatever it be, right? Whatever it be in your life, We all interact with each other in a way to teach each other. And if you can go back to not taking it personally, again, it's that attachment, right? We attach to something, we attach to an outcome, we attach to a belief system, we attach to a motive, we attach to something that takes us out of that state of being the truth of who we are, which is a soul, here having this human experience. And if we can go back to that soul connection, I won't say who, but I talk to somebody occasionally and I'll say, when something happens or something happens in this person's life, but we agree to this situation, they're like, no, no, no. We don't know whether it's true or not. But the point is, I know that my ex is a soul, whether he believes I'm going to hell or not, could care less. He is a soul and I am a soul. And we worked through this situation together for the learning of both of us, because I'm sure he may not know if he learned anything or not, but I'm sure he did as a soul. And I know that I would constantly, when things got really bad, as I would go back to connecting to him as a soul, which is going back to the true love that we have with each other as souls and not as this human being. Because when you look at the nastiness and the hate that goes on in our world, and we see a lot of it right now, and all you're focusing on is that, it's so funny. Oh, another tangent. It's so funny. I've been thinking about people that say, oh, I don't know what's going on because I don't watch TV. Not putting people down at all. It's not where I'm going with this. But what I'm learning is that we have to protect ourselves from toxic garbage. We have to protect ourselves from that. But when we can educate ourselves to what's going on and why, then that, at least for me, what I've experienced, and that gives me the ability to go up to a higher plane and look at it from this exact same standpoint of love, of knowing that even those horrible people are still souls that are, and whether we like it or not, and we can have, I've had many conversations with people who are like, well, then I don't want that, or I'm not going to agree to that, or whatever. This is the illusion. We're playing out this game here. This isn't the truth of who we all are. This is only the illusion of who we are. And for that ex of mine, this is the illusion that he's living right now. This is the what do you call it? This is the game that he's in. That's not the word I want, but this is the game that he's in right now. And so he's playing that out. And that's how I could connect with him and not have pure hatred or anger or be sick or drink or whatever. It's just going back to the truth of who he is as a soul. It really helped me a lot to do that. And you're right, Tracy, that's what it came from, is that love. It's knowing and understanding that love is more important than anything. It doesn't, people feel like love is something that you have to be weak in, and it's not. You can still keep your boundaries and love somebody. There's several people that I love, but I'm not going to be near them because it's not good for me. I'm not going to help them. And I'm only going to go off track if I'm in that relationship or if I'm in that particular environment. But it doesn't mean that I can't still love them and understand. It's not, I don't know if I'm making this clear, but it's really loving the soul of that person. It's not accepting the human side of that person. There's a big difference between the two. Exactly. We are so profound. I love that you don't follow the crowd. And it's not that, I'm not saying that we should go watch the news. We should go watch what's happening in the events. We have to educate ourselves on what's happening though, because what's happening in our world right now is profound. It's very profound. It's changing the dynamics of our world. And if we're not keeping up with what's happening, then we're going to miss something. And even in the woo-woo world, it doesn't matter. I mean, I have friends that are on one side of the fence and some that are on the other side of the fence. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, as long as you understand that the spiritual world, your spiritual connection to who you are as a soul and who your brothers and sisters are as a soul, that's the important part, because we're all playing out a dynamic of learning here. And if we can understand that we're still connected, then we can accept one another and we don't have to be so angry about it. Now, I totally get it about the whole TV thing and the news thing or whatever. I do like to keep myself, I like to keep myself educated, but I'm not going to saturate myself with the garbage, but I do want to know what's going on. And so that's something I have been doing is I've been keeping on the surface what's happening, where are we at? And again, I don't just listen to one type of, media thing. I like to get a mix of it because that's how you get the truth of a little bit of everything. But we can't just bury our heads in the sand because we're evolving to higher evolution. We're evolving to a higher species of people. And I know that when I had Janine on the last time and her guys came through and they were talking about how the new generations they're changing in their DNA to be of a higher caliber, to understand and work in this world in a different way. And I feel like, all of us that have been in the awakening or in the listening mode of what's happening, we understand that this is an evolvement of our human nature and how we need to evolve to become better than what we actually are. Well, it's good that I'm holding true to that, Tracy. We do have to keep a foot in our 3D world. Exactly. We do have to do that, but we cannot be fixated on what's happening. We can't. We have to know that it's changing, but we have to have our one foot on each side of that fence. We have to be in the now and we have to know what's coming as well. And that's a lot of doing our own inner work. That's a lot of being open to hearing and seeing and educating yourself in that way as well. Because the more that we do our inner work, the better we're going to be prepared. Like if you would have told me even 6 years ago to 8 years ago that I would have handled this divorce the way I did, I would have laughed in your face because I would not have. I mean, it would have been scary. That person going through what I went through would have been scary. But I grew and I'm going to keep growing. And so is he. And so is everybody else. We're all going to keep growing. You just watch sports. What do you watch, Eddie? What sports do you watch? Oh, thank you, Tracy. Love them from a distance. Sometimes you can't always love them from a distance. Yeah, don't get saturated in it. Don't get pulled into it, but you have to stay informed. You have to know what's going on. You really do. And you don't want to do it in fear. You don't want to walk in fear. You can't. You have to walk in trust. You don't want to attach to any outcome. Like, it's so funny. I've been working with this one person and I experienced it too, where I thought something was going to happen and it didn't happen. And so my first thought was, well, what's up with that? You told me this was going to happen and it didn't happen. And one thing that, as we're learning and growing is we can fool ourselves, or we have spirit talking to us and we have our own mind talking to us. And we have to know the difference. And sometimes they're very similar. Sometimes they're very close. And so we can fool ourselves. We can be hearing ourselves wanting something more than spirit saying that this is going to happen. And we're learning. That's a part of our learning, is to differentiate between this is spirit and this is you. This is your own mind. But the more that we're able to connect with spirit and know who we are and understand when it's our own mind and when it's spirit, the better we're going to be as we go through these transformations in the world that's going to change. Because I feel like, we're in for a road. We're in for a long road is all I can say on that one. All right. I can keep going. We're now on 2 hours. Okay, so keep looking for November 1st for the gratitude. If you want to participate, every day you have to say what you're grateful for in one of the platforms, but please stick to one. So, because when I go back and pick everybody's names, going to be looking at who did it every day, and I don't want to go back and forth. And when it comes to me and my eyesight, I'm not good at, so I'll probably have somebody help me do that. And because I'm terrible at that kind of thing. But anyway, all right, you guys, it was fun. You guys have been so much fun. You guys have been great in your comments, your likes, your support, share, friend. You're all met. Did I get everybody as a moderator? If there's anybody here that still wants to be a moderator, then please put something in the chat and I'll make you a moderator if you're on YouTube. I think I have everybody who is here right now that I know of. I'm looking one more time, make sure that I don't have any gray. This is fun. You guys are all moderators. What does that make you? What are you able to do as a moderator? Anybody who knows, Sharon? Oh, Dawn. Didn't I do that? No, yeah, you're a moderator. That was before. Okay. I'm looking really fast to make sure everybody's moderator. You're a moderator. You're a moderator. You're a moderator. I don't know how I missed Cassandra. All right. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Cassandra. I know. Boy, Eddie, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning there. Oh, okay. You have power. You can get rid of trolls and bad people that like to put pornography on here. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning where you are, Eddie, isn't it? Now you guys can put your YouTube stuff. Everybody put their YouTube thing here. Oh, you're going to have to go back and listen to the recording, Jacqueline. There was a lot. Beatles summer. How funny. Yeah, everybody put your YouTube. Who has a YouTube? I know, Tracy, you have a YouTube, don't you? You gave it to us one time before. Oh, you did? Okay, good. Oh, but you know what? They're not going to stay. You know what? You guys do that. Go back. No YouTube. I know you're killing it on TikTok. For all you guys who want to know, I have been doing almost every day, but not every day, TikTok recordings of Stoics wisdom. So if you want to check those out, go check Reach the Unlimited. I think it's me. I don't know what it is. Joanne Medium. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. But I've been doing the Stoics wisdom every day and doing a little talk on it. I'm only doing the 3-minute thing. So I've been doing that. I'm going to keep that up. I like it. Yes, the Stoics. The wisdom of it's such a great thing. I let Spirit pick it and then I talk about it. I read the little passage thing that's in the book and then I do a talk on it. And yeah, but Jacqueline's a TikToker. She's on the TikTok. What about the Ouija? I love the Ouija board. It's like table tipping. I think the Ouija board got a bad rap because people didn't know what it was. And they were afraid of it. And also you're going to hell if you do the Ouija board. Okay, there's you're going to have to go back in though on when this is over and then put it in, because when on StreamYard, YouTube does not keep the chat. So go back into and give each other your YouTubes after the live, because it won't go. It'll stay on Facebook, but it won't stay on YouTube. So the Ouija board is just a spirit board. It's just spirit working like table tipping, or it's a physical mediumship. I use it. I have one. I don't use it as often. Yeah, I don't use them as often because it's very slow energy. It's very cumbersome. And the thing I love table tipping. Oh, I want to do that so bad again. The thing about table tipping, though, that got me was it spells it out. So you have to go through A, B, C, D, and that gets kind of long and old after a while. When we were doing table tipping as a group with Marsha is the table whisperer. I'm telling you right now, she's a table whisperer. We would ask questions, yes or no. And that worked for me. I like that better because you got the answer. You had to come up with the right questions, obviously, whereas spirit's just talking to you, then they'll spell it out and give you more information that way, but it's very cumbersome and takes a long time. Table tipping. Oh my gosh, table tipping is amazing. You're not too ancient for TikTok. If I can be on TikTok, you can be on TikTok. Absolutely. So table tipping, Jacqueline, is a physical form of mediumship. It's when you have a table, and usually the people who are running the table have been working with their spirit team, and that table, they really can use any table, but they usually use one or two different tables while they're working and building up the power. And table tipping has been around for eons. And in the older days when they did table tipping, they didn't always have their hands on the table because the energy was really built up. And so their hands would just be over the table. And whoever was running the table could actually have the table move throughout the room, or it would go up and down walls or walk on the ceiling or go up and down stairs. Marsha's had a few experiences like that. But today they usually put their hands on the table, but you only have to, like, you just use your fingertips. You barely touch the table, and the energy causes the table to move, and spirit is moving it. And so you're able to ask questions. And like I said, what will happen is the table will tip to one side. And that's how you, like, it'll go A, B, C, D, E, F, and then it'll spell out words. And then you have to be smart and coherent and in the now to be able to put it all together. And you come up with sentences. And that's how spirit talks with you. When we did it, the first couple times we did it more like, what about this? Yes or no? What about that? Yes or no? So you can do it in many different ways. The Ouija board is the same way, where you're putting your hand on the planchette, and it goes over to the letters or the numbers. To me, it's just, and again, sometimes it doesn't work right away. Sometimes you have to build the power to it as well. I don't personally think there's anything wrong with the Ouija board. I don't see any evil or bad to it. I don't feel like, I think it goes back to what you think you create, because a lot of people love the spirit board, but the spirit board is just like the Ouija board. It's just called a spirit board, which changes the energy to the board, where a Ouija board, all on its own, it wasn't anything about the Ouija board being good or bad or lower vibration or higher vibration. It got the reputation because of how people used it. And then the Ouija board became an evil thing, but the spirit board became okay when they're exactly the same thing. They do the same thing. That's my take on the Ouija board. I have one. I don't use it because it's almost like, so it's almost like your deck of cards. This is a device. This is a tool, right? Do you like how I have my deck of cards right here? I love these cards. These ones are so cool. I love these cards. Anyway, wait a minute. You got to see. We're going to have another card reading. Look how cute they are. I love these cards. Anyway, they're a tool. And for me now, it slows me down because I trust we all have a direct relationship. We all have the telephone line comes to all of us. But we're trained to now listen to it and be in tune with it. So for me, I actually get information faster when I'm just listening to spirit. But a lot of people tell me, then why do you use them? Because when you have clients or when you have somebody who doesn't really know what's going on, this is a physical thing that somebody can see. I just had this conversation with someone the other day, that this is a physical thing that they can see and understand. And whether they know it or not, like so this is the King of Swords. This is about communication. There's a lot going on in that picture. And so whether they know it or not, they're going to pick something up that may mean something to them. And they're going to be able to understand what you're saying because energetically they're feeling it, or they're hearing it in some way that they're not used to. So this, though, is a physical thing that you can use with that person in front of you, where they're going to be able to understand what it is that you're saying or talking about. So this is a tool. It's just like with these pendulums. A lot of people believe that pendulums, I mean, there's a mixed feeling about pendulums being a positive or a negative. For me, I've never used a pendulum in a way of my higher self answering the question. I've always relied on my spiritual team to give me the information from a pendulum. There's a lot of people out there that say that you can sway the pendulum based on your bias or what you're thinking or things like that. I personally don't feel that way. But again, I don't use this as much as I used to use it because I know I have a connection to my team. So if I have a question, I know they're going to answer me that way. I still will pull out the pendulum from time to time. I absolutely still use my pendulum. I have one in my purse. I have one in my desk. I have one in my car. I have pendulums and I like them and I love them. I actually do love pendulums. But this is another tool. This is just something that spirit, a physical thing that spirit can use to give somebody a message. So that's what, that's why I use them, because, you know, people that haven't had that relationship with spirit may not know for sure whether it's truth or not. But I firmly believe, especially in cards, they can feel it at some level. All right. What did I miss through all that? I love the light seers. I know. And their pictures are so cool. Yes, the owl can be knowledge. Absolutely. Look at how wise he is. I love these cards. And look at that crow up there and the bat. Definitely. I love these cards. And he's a wise man. Anyway. Okay. Telekinetic, yeah, energy for me. Interesting. Aquarian energy. You know what's interesting about it? I'm more of an oracle card reader than a tarot reader. And I'm not really sure why. I'm forcing myself now to use the tarot because, and I've learned it and I've played with it. I have I don't even know how many decks of tarot that I have. I like the Rider-Waite the most. This one, though, is my favorite, but the Rider-Waite would be my next. I have this kind of not good relationship with tarot. Like I've had some bad experience in another life or something, but to me, it's like they're too strong, or I have kind of a fear to them for some reason. And it could be even my past beliefs that I haven't worked out about, you know, that all being evil, or because tarot is the oldest. Oracles are not as accepted, I guess you can say. I personally love the oracles and I can get anything from the oracle cards, but for the tarot, there's something about it that is like what Tracy said about the Ouija board being a lower vibration. Something about the tarot that kind of works with me that way. So I've been forcing myself to use the tarot, and it's getting better, but it's a love-hate relationship for sure. How funny. Wow. Would you have wanted to be a physics teacher? Well, I'm going to do more of the tarot. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. I hate it when I clap because it's so loud for you, and I always forget that. But thank you for being here. Thanks for playing. And let's see. Next week, I do have a guest, so I hope that it will work. You know, I book my guests out about 2 months, like I've said before. So sometimes it just happens where people can't be here, and I don't do a backup thing because y'all know I can talk. So that's what I do. All right, you guys, I'm leaving. Thank you all for being here. It's been fun. And thank you for all of the fun we had on YouTube. It's been great. Yes, take care, everyone. And thank you for all being my moderators now. I appreciate that. And if you want to go back in after this, go put it in the comment section, your YouTube channels, and we can all come and visit each other. Good night. All right, everybody. Bye.